We are pure awareness, also known as pure consciousness, soul, or spirit, and we come to this planet to have a human experience. And the whole reason we come here is to remember who we are. So we come here forgetting who we are in order to once again remember our true nature. And one way of doing this is through the practice of self-inquiry. Self-inquiry is really one of the most powerful spiritual paths that you can walk, one of the deepest. And it really does help you find the end of suffering while you are alive. It doesn't mean that you don't face challenges or you go through pain or things don't happen to you anymore. It just means that you don't suffer anymore because you remember who you are. And who you are is pure consciousness. Now, I might interchange the words pure spirit, soul, consciousness, or awareness throughout this video, but they all essentially mean the same thing. They are the essence of what we are. And the reason I want to share with you the path of self-inquiry today is because it is really, if the reason we come here is to know who we are, then self-inquiry is the way to know that. All the peace, all the freedom, and all the inner liberation lies in the path of self-inquiry. And the way we walk the path of self-inquiry is by discovering who we are, by discovering what we aren't. So we are not the ego. We are not any of our ego thoughts. We are not any thoughts full stop. We are not any ideas, concepts, emotions. We are not anything that happens to us. We are not our history. We are not any of the events in the outside world. We are pure consciousness, and all of these objects of form are actually appearing within us. Even though it seems that we are in this body is actually within us because we are pure consciousness. Now, if you're new to this understanding, this might sound kind of far out, but over time, when you let this seed be planted in your mind and you keep coming back to your source, to yourself as pure awareness, you will see that everything is within you. Thoughts are just passing by, experiences are just passing by, yet you are the one thing that never changes. Pure consciousness never changes. It is pure, it is always present, and everything is occurring within it. But when we come to this planet, we fall asleep. We fall asleep under the cosmic illusion that we are this person. I fell asleep and thought I was Vish. I thought I was the things that have happened to me, my nationality, the work that I do. This is just the path of this incarnation. We come here and we forget who we are. Through self-inquiry, we remember. And when we disidentify with what we aren't, when we disidentify with all of these form objects passing through our awareness, we are actually free and liberated. Because if something happens to you in this life, something challenging happens to you, if you can know your true self and rest in it, you can watch the pain go by. And life only hurts and suffering is only caused based on what we feel. And when we get tied into what we feel. So no matter what happens, if you have this peace inside you because you are resting in your knowing as true, pure awareness, then you are untouchable. You're totally untouchable by anything that happens in the world. And when you're resting in this knowing, your vibration will automatically rise to the highest point and your life experience will just be absolutely magical. So how do you know yourself as pure awareness? How do you practice self-inquiry? So there's a few ways to start practicing it, and you can do it all throughout the day. So one way of practicing self-inquiry is whenever a thought arises in your mind, just notice the thought and ask yourself, to whom does this thought arise? And don't try to answer from the mind, because the mind cannot answer this question. This is way beyond the mind. Instead, Just turn your awareness inwards and look to the one that observes. Eventually, you will see yourself as everything everywhere. But in the early days when you're beginning self-inquiry, we are conditioned to believe that who we are is localized within. So we can find ourselves as pure awareness inside of us. And some areas of your body you can look in if you're looking for pure awareness are in your heart center and even to the right of your heart center. This is where a lot of people find their true nature, their true self. So you can bring your awareness there. Otherwise, just trust the intuition of your body, trust the guidance, and see where it takes you. Now, a really important one, and a way of noticing the ego and noticing when you are not the ego narrative, is when you hear a thought in your mind that says, I am, or I, like, I'm hungry, or I want to go outside for a walk. When you hear these thoughts, just pause and ask, who is this I? Ask, who wants to go to the store? Who wants to go for a walk? Who's hungry? When you ask these questions, you'll start to see that actually this voice is really automatic and you're not the one speaking in your head. And when you know what you are not, when you know who you are not, then it's really easy to know who you are, because all that is left when the ego disappears is pure awareness, and that's what you are. Pure awareness is silent. Pure awareness never talks in your mind. You won't hear it in your mind in the way that you hear your voice. You will feel it. But that's a whole different language that you will start to get to know once you drop out of your mind. Once you allow the ego to start dissolving by seeing it for the illusion that it is, because the ego is nothing more than a bundle of conditioned thoughts and reactions. There is a deeper I, the true self. The reason this is called self-inquiry is because you're inquiring into the self. You're inquiring into your true self, who you are, what you are. And by constantly watching your thoughts and then asking those questions, asking, who is this I? And also, to whom does this thought arise? To whom does this thought arise will turn you inwards to self. And when you ask, who is this I? You will start to see that it is a totally separate being to you. The ego is this amazing mystery that we are born into, that we identify with, that causes all of our suffering, because as long as you're identified with the stories, when good things happen, you'll feel happy. When bad things happen, you'll feel sad, and you'll always be on this roller coaster of emotion, and you will suffer. 100% you will suffer. But what you'll find the more that you start to practice self-inquiry is that your mind will go silent on its own. Because when the ego is observed in the light of pure awareness, which is what you are in the light of self, it starts to dissolve by itself. The only way that it's fed is when we identify with it. When the mind goes quiet and the ego goes quiet, all that is left in the silence is you. You are God. You come from God. You are pure awareness. You are the whole universe. But you will only know this when you start to look for yourself rather than always being caught outside in the things happening around you and the stories of your ego. I'm going to be putting up more videos soon on these deeper spiritual topics like self-realization and this kind of liberation. If you want to hear more, then just let me know by leaving me a comment below, because I'd love to know if you are interested in this and this is something that resonates with you, so I can know to create more of this. In the meanwhile, if you want to learn more about self-inquiry, I highly recommend you look into the books of these two self-inquiry teachers. One's name is Nisargadatta Maharaj and the other one is Ramana Maharishi. They are two Indian sages from the last century, and they have left behind incredible books, or they've had books actually transcribed for them from talks that they have done that are full of questions and answers, and they will help you to go deeper into this. If you would like my help in going deeper into self-inquiry, then you can apply for a free one-to-one consult with me for my private coaching program. The link is just down below in the description. And if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, press the bell button so you're notified of any new videos I put out in the future. But as always, much love from me to you, and I will see you next time.